Welcome back to another episode of Rapid Fire, sponsored by SimpliFaster. I'm your host, Justin Ochoa, and I'm here with Steve Schween, the head of performance at Cienega High School. Steve, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Great. Good to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we do down here.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited to learn more about it. So let's jump right in and talk about kind of your unique scenario with a different schedule set up at the school and how you guys are implementing your periodization, your programming, some of the conjugate things that you guys are doing within that unique setup. So if you can kind of detail that, I think the listeners will really enjoy it.
Yeah, so we're on a modified year-round schedule, which kind of makes things a little bit interesting. We start school at the end of July. We go from 9 weeks, then we have 2 weeks off. We do 11 weeks, so we get another 2 weeks off. Then we have 10 weeks, 2 weeks off, 9 weeks. And then the kids have a 7 week summer, and we have a 6 week work week. So it's really hard to program. I don't have a traditional periodization where we go like in season, out of season, for that. The only one that truly is that is our football team, because we can bring them in over breaks. Like our kids are, my basketball kids, they're gone for fall break. Like I'm not going to see them. So we have to tailor things more to the quarter, which is kind of different. But it also, with the way we have our modified conjugate, I say modified because we do max effort, dynamic effort, but not full max effort work, and we use a lot of accommodating resistance, but it allows us to change and adapt so that the overall, cycle may be the second quarter, but it's still adapted and working within their season. So it's not the traditional setup that most people have, but it also works, because if I see my kids for 11 weeks and go be kids for 2 weeks, like I'm still seeing them
Yeah.
like 45 weeks a year with that whole summer. So we basically break it down to 5 training cycles, but then adaptations within season, out of season as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I've never heard of a school schedule like that. In terms of your conjugate system, and I know you're using BBT a lot, can you talk a little bit about, what are your core principles with BBT, how you're intertwining that into the conjugate program, and then again, how you're using all of that within your unique schedule?
Yeah, so we've dabbled for the last couple of years with VBT, but you didn't have the pieces that we wanted. And this summer we were lucky enough to install a perch unit on every one of our racks. So everything that we're doing is now based off of the bar speed, which we wanted, which also really helps that integrate. So we spend a lot of time, in accelerator 0.5 meters to 0.75 meters per second, but it allows us to do, kids think they're moving bars fast. And so we put them under perch for the full time, we're doing a speed squat, and all of a sudden, I'm asking them to be 0.75 and above, and they're 0.55. I'm like, I've been telling you it wasn't fast. So we really had to kick it back and teach them to stop worrying about the weight on the bar and worry about the number for the bar, which has been huge, because that also helps us make those simple adjustments in season. So now I can just program it in that, okay, we may be in a heavier week, like mid cycle, where we're going to let them drop to like 0.45 in an absolute strength, but the in-season kids, theirs is already dialed up, automatically changed in, that they're still going to live in that accelerated for faster bar movement. So that's been really big, not having to be like, okay, I need you to just do lower volume. So we'll adapt it where we drop their volume down, but keep their intensity up, but they're all about their bar speed. And that's kind of been really good, especially because, like you said, I found when I first started, the hardest thing to teach out of everything within the conjugate was dynamic effort. Because if you give a kid a sub-maximal load on the bench, they're just going to push it because they know they can. Now they're seeing the number, whereas we thought we were doing it fast. They call it the humbler. Then now they get like humble, not moving, and they had to work their way down. So we're really, truly getting in to more of our dynamic effort that we weren't getting as well as we did before. So we're seeing the changes happening a little bit more with how their bar is moving, which we really like. So that's been huge for us as far as putting it in. So we'll look too, and then it's actually fixed a lot of our technique, particularly in our Olympic lifts, because the kids, they wanted to catch a clean high and just pull it. Well, they were not getting to the speed that they wanted to. So it's actually helped us out a lot with technique as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that objective feedback and just that real time, feedback gives them the opportunity to correct themselves without you maybe having to intervene or, step in for a technical fix. This wasn't
Yeah,
on the questions I
that's
sent you, but Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's been the really cool thing too, is because there's been such more buy-in with them as well, because it's like, hey, I need you in this zone right here. If you're
Hmm.
above it, go ahead, add the weight. If you're below it, take it off. They're taking more ownership of their
Yep.
their bar, and because we're not saying, okay, it's not 75%, go get it. Well, today that's not 75 would be really like your 65 or your 90. So they're feeling better that they can change it around and have more ownership of that.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I was going to ask you, I always like to talk to coaches that use VBT with accommodating resistance because I think it is a unique scenario. When you're inputting your weights or you're looking at your metrics, are you accounting for the added weight or resistance from the chain or the bands, or are you just putting the bar weight on there and let the bar speed be the bar speed?
So we just put the bar weight on, but we have the option to add band or chain. It doesn't change the weight to the bar, but it allows me, when I pull the data, to know that that was a banded week. So we also got into Rock Daisy this year. So I'm pulling all that data and putting it in a Rock Daisy. So I look at perch for certain things, and then I kind of break it down a little bit more. So there's certain days that I have that I know it was a banded squat. So that weight's going to be a little bit less than when it's a straight weight squat. So I can break that down and we can look at it that way. But yeah, we just put the weight in and click so we know which set was what.
Yeah, love that. Love that. So switching gears a little bit, I know you are executive board member and also a regional director in the NHSSCA. I just wanted to learn a little bit more about some of your roles, responsibilities within the organization, and kind of, what are some major projects or goals that you guys have as an organization moving forward?
Yeah, the I've been lucky to be involved with the NHSSCA since the beginning. I was the Arizona State Director for a little while now. I've been the Region 3 board member, which is Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. So I oversee those 4 states and building the membership there and moving forward. Then I've also stepped into the role as a Regional Advisory Board Chair to the Executive Council. So a little bit more, I'm like the middle person between the Executive Council and all the regional advisory board members, trying to make sure we're staying on top of things and making sure that everybody gets a voice to the organization, which has been a great setup. It's really been good. I like the way we've restructured leadership. We had a nice executive council meeting. We gathered in Dallas for like 24 hours or something like that, and just hammered out our leadership and how the direction we want to go. One of the really big things for us has been our certification. We came out with a high school strength coach certification last year in a beta version, and we're really working to push for that because it's geared towards high school coaches, and not just high school coaches like myself, who's a full-time strength coach, but the PE teacher who's in the weight room, the sport coach who's in the weight room, and
Yeah,
really trying to find a way to educate those type of people who don't live in the strength world. And it's so different than every other certification because, there's lesson plan writing in there, how you working, getting money for administration, things like that. It's outside the box of just here's anatomy and physiology, here's sets and reps. And that's our big thing right now, really making sure we're doing that. We're getting out there. We're working with Shape. We're partnering with Shape America to get
nice.
with them. We're working with Glacier Clinics to start speaking there as well. I'll have the opportunity in February to speak at the Vegas Glacier, but branching out and making sure that we're working with the right high school people and really making those connections and growing their knowledge base for this.
Yeah, I love that. That certification sounds awesome because it covers, so many bases and so many different facets of high school strength conditioning. Like some coaches may be wearing a lot of hats. Some people might be a full time. So I love the approach there. Last question here. I want to know, you just got Rock Daisy, you just got Perch. I know you guys have a nice facility. What is a program, or excuse me, what is a piece of equipment you've been eyeing that you haven't pulled the trigger on yet that you might do so in the near future?
That's a tough question because, like you said, we just added perch. I got some force decks last year. I get catapult out there with the football kids. We use polar heart rate with our basketball kids. And we exclusively squat like a safety squat now because I bought one for everything. We neutral grip bench with everything. Think the next thing that we kind of want to really get into, we've got some body tempering tools, but we'd like to add add more. Just thinking about trying to get a couple pieces to every rack. So for our recovery days, it's not just one or two people trying to get that. I think that'd be really big for us. We changed our bell schedule over a couple years ago, so now we're a 5-day. I see the kids 5 days instead of a modified block. So one day's our middle days typically been a good, like, we do RPR and 3D mapping mobility stuff, but we also
Nice.
get them down and sometimes turn out the lights on them, listen to some rain, but it'd be really good to have some extra body tempering tools. So that might be the one coming up this year. I'm not sure.
That's dope, man. That's awesome. I love to hear the RPR and the 3D maps, man. Those are some staples in my program.
I think that's what I tell the kids all the time. Like, Mike, you don't take what we do for granted. It's kind of special what we're able to accomplish out here, especially in, we're Vail, Arizona. We're not some big, huge Phoenix school, but I got great administrative support, and I just tell them all the time, and I want to do all the things for you guys that I wasn't able to do. Like that's a cornerstone of how we build the program.
That's what it's all about, man. So if anybody wants to continue this conversation or learn more about your schedule, your program, or just link up with you, where can they find you on social media?
I'm just at Steve Schween. Like, pretty simple. I kept it easy. I'm on all, like, at X, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that. Just, you'll find me.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. It was great catching up with you, and looking forward to putting this episode out.
Hey, thanks for the chance.